Okay, so all about using knowledge organisers at Key Stage 3. And I'm aware it's slightly late to the trend. This was something, that I saw on Twitter and I've shamelessly stolen. But they have been really useful for my, I've just started at a new school as a head of history with kind of lower levels of literacy and engagement, and trying to go, well, actually, this is the basics that you need to know as a Year 7 pupil, and kind of making it seem a bit more achievable. So, this kills me every time I have to say it. We've got a 2-year Key Stage 3 and we only get an hour a week. Yeah. So I worked out, it's something like 72 hours of history in these people's lives potentially ever. So it's trying to cram a lot in, while still, again, making it accessible to the pupils who have really low levels of literacy that, are teaching Bradford. A lot of them have not left Bradford ever, have no concept of the outside world, really. And so trying to broaden it in a way that they can get to, still looking at kind of that whole knowledge-rich curriculum idea. And I will say I've completely just stolen the original idea. Okay, so very similar to originally, Rich did one on, it was Simon Sharma's The Normans Cause a Truckload of Trouble, I think was the phrase, and then kind of developed it into every Key Stage 3 topic we tried to jam in. So trying to put a few ideas of how I've developed it, looking at, well, an inquiry question printed in their books to refer to as much as possible, trying to look at some of the keywords and concepts, what do they mean. There's a big literacy drive at our school, understandably. Love a map, okay. Geography do have it right that sometimes it does just make more sense with a map, okay. Love a picture as well, okay. Most of them I've just kind of nicked from BBC Bitesize and hope they don't mind. But having that, it does give them a kind of collage overview of what's going on. Obviously a timeline, added in a bit of an overview of what should be happening every 1 or 2 lessons-ish. So if they do happen to miss a lesson, they're not completely behind when it comes to assessments. They've got that basic overview. Okay, but the bit I've really been working on recently is looking at actually using proper, real historians coming in. What is a historian's opinion? It's a bit of a quote from various different people based on, okay, there you go, all the knowledge in one place, but based on books that the pile at home is ridiculous, but trying to actually look at real historical debate to get pupils to see that history is not just written by some mysterious person I don't even know where they think historians work. But, that this is a real job and there are real people. So definitely trying to put a photo of the historian in and trying to show that, there are female historians working at a girls' school, really, really important, that they are not just all white historians, that they're not actually all in their 50s. You can have younger historians as well. So trying to open that kind of careers side of it up and allow them to see that it's constructed and you can disagree with the historian, which they totally hate me making them do, but that this is not the gospel truth, that actually they can look at someone's opinion and go, well, do I agree with that historian or not, based on the knowledge, trying to come back to that at the end and attempting to try and, I know this sounds slightly bad, but trying to choose historians that have something on YouTube helps as well, that they might not with, some of their levels of literacy be able to read loads and loads of books and articles, but they can probably engage that bit more because they've done a clip with BBC Teach or they've got a bit of a YouTube documentary and they can watch that and get into the debate that way. So things like Simon's guided reading sheets have been fantastic for this. Okay, just scanning in pages and pages of books, getting them to read, because I think that ultimately history is reading and writing, and if they can get that idea of reading the constructors' history as well as putting it in kind of, I don't know the word now, inside the kind of basic knowledge that we have on the knowledge organiser, if you need to learn these facts, trying to marry the two together has been what I've been up to. So I feel like I've spoken at the speed of light and probably got it through in like 3 minutes. Okay, but okay. Then, last one, I can happily share this, but just having a look at, well, how do you actually use them in lessons? So things like go away and you've got to learn the keywords. I'll give you a quiz and test you. Do you actually know them? Trying to force them to come across them. Things like keyword bingos, gap fills, putting the dates in the right order, all of this kind of stuff as starters. But as well, when they're writing a piece of extended writing, that they can check for themselves, Are they actually including this type of vocabulary? Are they checking the spellings of it, which is always interesting? And it's really clear what they need to learn for revision. That I can go, year 8, that map of the triangular trade, you're going to have to draw that in your assessment. Can you just please learn it? Okay, and making it super clear what they need to know. And also, not so good at this one, I should do it more, but with GCSE classes, giving them a blank one in exactly the same template with some of it filled in, and they've got to fill in the gaps so they can see, have they learnt the whole sheet? Are there any obvious gaps where they might know some dates, but they know none of the keywords and things like that? So it gives them a bit of a chance of that, Alex was talking about metacognition, what do you know and what are you going to do about it? So Alice has waved, that's 1 minute, that's me done. Okay, thank you.